Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of Star Trek Adventures Forefront. What lies beneath? I'm Jeremy Hochhalter, your host. This here channel could be called my own, and this game, however, is not going to be run by me, so I'm going to pass it off to Al Spader here in just a moment after I announce how awesome Al is for working on Star Trek Adventures. I'm so glad to have an actual designer from the game here to run this for us. And for those of you who haven't heard, Al's coming out with a new 2D20 game in the near future called Sentience, which I'm going to link the quick start to you in just a moment. Check out later this month, I believe we were going to do the stream of that, right? So
Yeah.
Once we have that verified, because I think we need a couple more participants. I could be wrong on that, but we'll get that announced, and I hope you'll come check it out. So, Al, why don't you tell us about yourself and...
How's it going? Al Spader. Been a freelance writer for Star Trek Adventures for a couple of years now. And this started off as a kind of a learn-to-play campaign for some bunch of people that had never touched the 2D20 system really before, and it's really turned into something that's pretty cool. We're excited for it. We've had people coming in and out, so we've had probably like 8 people get exposed to the system, which is awesome. And today, episode 4, we're going to start learning some more information about the bigger picture, I hope. So I'm going to start clockwise from me, and Sid, introduce yourself and your character.
Am I muted? I don't think I'm muted. I'm not muted.
I can hear you.
All right. Fine. Hey, I'm Sid, and today I'll be playing Lieutenant Praham Javak, science officer. And let's have some fun, roll some dice.
Awesome.
Sweet.
And Andrew, who are you playing today?
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm going to be playing Lieutenant Vasily of 6, who is our flight controller on the ship.
And our couple together in sharing a screen today because of our technical difficulties. We're making it work. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
My name is Adela Perez. I usually play games on Wednesday with Jeremy. Fantastic, and I'm so happy to be here. It looks like on Twitch we have my SO above me. That's going to be Matt. I am going to be playing Commander Jissa Rogu. I am the ship's doctor, so I will be helping everybody out when in need.
And I'm Matt, and I am Adela's FO, who I guess is below me on Twitch. I am playing Lieutenant Commander Gabriel Martin, who is the Chief Engineer of the USS Ginsburg.
And Miko joining us for the first time.
Hello there. I am Miko, otherwise known as the _AKist_GM on the socials. I am new here, happy to be here. I am also a new member of the production team here at Wanderer's Haven, a journey that I am happy to be taking on. Thank you again, Jeremy, for letting me in this space, and thank you to everyone else for letting me come and join you at your table. I'm sure this is going to be a lot of fun. I am going to be playing Lieutenant Tana Dane, the ship's counselor, a Barzan woman with a bit of a past that she doesn't like to talk about very much.
And coming out from behind the screen, Jeremy's back for episode 4.
Glad to be back.
Why don't you remind everybody who you're playing?
I am playing Lieutenant Tarjum, a Trill security officer, the head of security on the bridge. He had a bad case of some spoiled Klingon celebratory feast last time.
That party was a great party.
The party was great. The Klingon...
It's wriggling still.
Yeah. So just to catch you all up on what happened on the last mission, basically the crew was called in to essentially rescue a science vessel that was testing a new warp drive that would make warp beyond warp 5 undetectable And something went horribly wrong. Subspace got really messed up, and on top of that, these Romulans who keep showing up were on board this science vessel trying to steal that new drive system. There was a confrontation, and one of the Romulans it looked like was possessed by a ghost or something like that. And that's kind of where we left off. We did find out where the Romulan vessel that dropped that away team off was going to. And so when we returned back to the Ginsburg, Captain Arlen ordered, pursuit. And it would be about 45 minutes to get to where you need to be going. However, you currently have a Romulan prisoner in your brig. And I know that there was some discussion about possibly interviewing the Romulan or finding out more information about what may have happened. So I'm going to leave that up to you all. I think that, Tarjem, this might be something up your alley, but I don't know how you guys want to go about doing this. So that's where we're going to start. You are all in a ready room talking about what to do with this Romulan that's in the brig.
Now, refresh my memory. Was this the one that had the Tetrion beam attached to it? So this is the
Yes.
substandard.
Yes, and when it was knocked unconscious, the Tetrion beam let go, and you saw this ghost-like face come out from its body and then kind of dissipate.
Now, were you able to discern what was allowing this Tetrion beam to connect to the Romulan?
The only thing that they were able to figure out was that this Tetrion beam was disappearing into subspace through a rupture, which may or may not have been caused by the ship's warp drive not working according to plan.
And do you think the Romulan was complicit with this, or?
Sort of think so, right? Because the other Romulans were obeying that Romulan's orders just fine. Is that
This
right?
Romulan was a sub-commander and did appear to be in charge of that boarding party.
So the one that we have in custody was the sub-commander? Just clarifying.
Yes.
Okay. I feel like we need...
The
I'm-
doctor have a feeling about like a feeling about
Oh, like
the vibe,
there's
yeah.
the extra presence that you just feel
Yes.
like insensate.
Have you... We're going to say that because it was transported directly into the brig, which means that it's there unconscious. Or she's there unconscious, I should say. So I don't think anybody has been down to wake her up yet. So probably hard to detect feelings
Okay.
while she's unconscious.
She clearly needs a doctor, and she clearly needs a counselor.
I think this reading minds thing is getting a little too much, but I was thinking the exact same thing. I'd like to be nearby should there be any issue, but perhaps we should start, because we don't know if this Romulan was in control or not, and if we extend a hand of friendship first.
I mean, they did kill the entire crew of the other ship except for one incident.
But if the others were just following the sub-commander's orders and that sub-commander had no control over herself, I feel like we need to verify that first before making any judgments. Oh, my stomach. I am gonna stop at the and just get a shot of something real quick before I meet you there.
That's right.
I think Dr. Just has got
Yeah.
a
I've got a hypo spray for
No,
that.
no, that's all right. I'll go down and I gotta drop something off on the way.
You gotta stay away from that Klingon food.
Oh,
really, I'm telling you, the gawk, you gotta make sure it's moving before you eat
The
it.
gawk was
It goes,
fine.
it spoils so
The
quick.
gawk was fine. I had it sourced properly.
Oh, it wasn't you. You just ate it too late.
I mean, there was a reason. We were in the midst of other things.
Fair enough. Fair
Okay,
enough.
I gotta go, but I'll meet you down there.
So, Doctor, did I hear that you're gonna pick up Tana and meet Tarjum down in the brig? Is that the plan?
Yes, I'd like to be doing that.
Right. Let's have a little interaction between you and Tana, as this will be everyone who's watching's first time seeing Tana on screen. So you'll be inviting her, maybe commanding her, however you want this to go. You've gone to her office, got to fill her in on what happened, and why you need her help in the brig.
Well, of course, I'm gonna do like a mad dash to her office, just to not a full run, but just kind of a quick little speed walk. There's gonna be like little hips going, just a little fast, strutting down, and of course, like hit the button to be let in, like beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. Not just walk in, because I want to give her some time to get ready.
There is a bit of an overly long pause before the response comes through. Yes, I'm in the middle of a session. Can I help you?
I'm so sorry to bother you, but we do have a security issue going on, and it would be so lovely if you could come and help us.
Doctor, yes. Yes, of course. Just give me one moment, please. And then the buzzer fades out. The camera pans into the office, and Tana Dane is sitting in a chair across from her couch, and one of the junior below decks officers is lying out on the couch with their hand on their head, and Tana Dane very quickly has to inform them that unfortunately their session is going to be cut short, security complications, and the like. But she promises this evening to make herself available for this officer to discuss their difficulties further.
Excellent.
Then
and then you're gonna go.
Yes, and then after just a moment of cordially making sure that he is in fact okay, she tells him that the couch is his. He can rest and relax. He's not due on shift for quite a while, so he can relax a bit, and she heads out of her office, quickly setting down a few pads.
Are you going to fill Tana in as you're walking, or what's the plan there?
Walking and talking, and Jess is just going to be walking slightly too fast to make it seem more urgent, but also that's just how she feels that day. Maybe a little too much of that Klingon coffee.
So what are you gonna tell Tana on the way?
I'm going to tell Tana that we have a Romulan in our brig, though the Romulan has been possibly affected by a tachyon? Tetrion power that left her body. And so now we're trying to discern if this Romulan second in command was the one that possibly killed the crew of the ship that we just encountered. So it's a little bit of a detective situation, but I know for certain that her abilities and her kindness is going to allow this Romulan to feel more comfortable.
Very well, Doctor. I will, of course, see to them as best as I can. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. We do have to tread a bit carefully here. Yes?
Yes.
Not common that a Romulan is led on board the ship, and particularly some political difficulties having them in the brig, I assume.
Yes. So we will have to tread lightly, though I believe your tact is exactly what we need at this moment.
I will endeavor to do my absolute best, sir.
Thank you so much.
So as you finish your walk down to the brig, Tarjev is there waiting for you, and you do see this Romulan woman. She's asleep on the floor of this behind a force field, much in the same position she was in after Vasily hit her with a pipe.
Oh, Vasily.
Ah,
You cheeky monkey, you.
Chekhov's spice. Yes.
This is the future. Pong.
That pipe came in clutch, I gotta say.
It did. All right.
So how do you want to begin this? There's 3 of you there. There's 1 of her. What is your approach here?
I believe, and this I'm going to mention before we fully walk in, is that we're going to be kind and diplomatic until we know more. Then we'll go from there, and we'll probably be bringing in our security officers into the conversation a little bit more.
I'm just going to plan on... I'm going to tell the 2 of you this before we wake her. I'm going to stand over here, out of the way, but if you need anything, I'll be ready.
Lieutenant Tarjum, how are you feeling?
Oh, and I glance over at the doctor. I'm so much better now. Thank you. It's mostly just emotional scarring at this point.
You know,
I can imagine.
I know what you're thinking.
Gah! I just walk over and stand against the wall.
Jeez.
So how do you intend to wake her up?
Oh. And there's no squirt guns available? No, I'm joking.
I can go in with a hypo and attempt to revive her field up. I don't have any qualms about being in the same room as a Romulan at all.
Okay.
So you're gonna drop the force field.
Yeah.
Let Tana go in, administer the hypo. Are you gonna go in too, Doctor, or are you gonna wait on the other side of the force field?
Go in with her, just because it seems like a sketchy situation with a different kind of hypo that nobody needs to know about, and walk in with a smile.
So is the plan to be standing over her, sitting next to her, sitting on the bed? You want to present yourselves here?
I think Tana would recommend a sitting position while she regains consciousness, and perhaps just go over to the keypad to unfold the chair that's built in for herself. Of course, she's not going to issue any commands or anything to the doctor. Doctor can do what she will in this instance, but that would be Tana's choice.
Jis is going to be standing, but at a comfortable distance. Just close enough to jump in if she needs to, but far enough away to not seem threatening.
And did you 2 turn the force field back on when you went in?
Yes,
Yeah.
before
Okay.
administering the hypo, the force field comes back up. Security protocols are still required.
Yeah, I'll go stand next to it just in case I need to get in, rather than having to run across the room and then open it.
So, hypospray is administered, and then within seconds you hear a not really a scream, but like a moan, and like she starts grabbing her head, and then she opens her eyes and like turns onto her back and like scuttles away from you as far away as she can, just like eyes darting back and forth. Just so you're definitely getting fear and confusion. What is going on here?
Easy now. It's fine. You're safe. Everything. I understand you've been through a bit of an ordeal here. My name is Lieutenant Tana.
Throbbing?
Very likely. My name is Lieutenant Tana Dane. You are Subcommander
Sevis.
Sevis. I apologize for the circumstances upon which we are meeting, Lieutenant Commander, or Subcommander, rather. Can you please? I understand the difficulties you must be going through. Can you please tell me anything at all about what you remember of your recent days?
You notified Romulan Star Empire that you have me as a prisoner?
Those notifications are being sent, I am certain. They're unfortunately a bit above my rank to be able to confirm that to you, but I promise you I will find out any details as such that you wish. But I am afraid that I do need to find out if you are okay.
What is the star date?
And I recite the star date to as close to perfect accuracy as I can.
Can't be possible, she says. And she repeats a star date back that was 7 days prior. That's when it's supposed to be.
I am afraid that the Tetrion exposure that you suffered might have altered your memory a bit, which is part of the reason that I'm hoping that you can at least be as forthcoming as you can in regards to what your most recent memory is, so that we can try to suss things out a little bit better. Whatever dangers that encompass you and your ship could possibly be endangering others as well.
So Starfleet has utilized the Tetrion weapon we were investigating.
No, that is of course not what has transpired. You were involved in the whatever Tetrion device before our arrival.
Sorry, really quick, Al. I just have to ask a question. Is this the device from episode 1?
Sure is.
Okay.
Boy.
Okay. And Jissa was there for that, right?
Yeah.
She was.
Okay. Jissa definitely feels a, oh shit, come from my head.
Like, that clearly wasn't us, right?
So basically, in episode 1, because Miko, you weren't here, they found this basically an obelisk that was shooting Tetrions into the sky, and they turned it off. And they met some Romulans there, and now she's accusing you all of using the device as a weapon.
Right.
Jissa is not going to divulge that she knows anything about this at all, though she's going to take in her feelings as it's stated that, you know, the Federation did nothing, or, you know, did not do anything with this weapon. I want to see how she feels about that, if she's like, liar, or if she's you know, confused by it.
She's I mean, she'll ask you straight up, so the weapon was not activated, is that what you're saying?
I believe the weapon was not activated.
So why is it I'm missing 7 days?
We would like to know what happened prior to where you don't recall things anymore. Because it seems like there's a lot of your own crew, and there's some other crew on that ship that didn't make it. So we're trying to figure out what happened.
So we, over a week ago, we were sent to a planet that was having high degrees of tetrions and electromagnetic energy launched into the sky. We met some miners there, and there was a device that the miners had unburied under the mountain. The device was shut down. We were told it was a weapon that Starfleet was trying to use against the Star Empire. It was shut down and inoperable, so we retreated, and we were given shortly after that, the last order that I remember was to retrieve a experimental star drive.
Do you know what happened to that star drive?
No. I don't even know how I got here.
Okay. I think we're going to have to bring in some more members of the crew to talk about maybe your findings, because we believe our ship might be in danger of the same thing that happened to you guys. Is that all right?
As long as the Empire knows that I'm here and that you are going to return me, I believe that will be fine. And if I'm not returned, I'm sure they will consider it an act of war.
Absolutely.
Of course.
We're trying to we're trying to be professional here.
Bless you. Sub-Commander, if I may, what was the name of the ship?
Which ship? My ship?
Your ship.
My ship is called the Decius.
The Decius. Not out loud, but does that sound familiar? Does that sound like the ship that was with the comet?
No.
Okay.
Oh, the ship that was with the comet was a shuttle.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
The shuttle might be on the Decius.
I will inform your government that you're currently in our care and that you came from the Decius. Do you know where the Decius should be now?
I do not.
Are there any other security guards in the area? Like,
Sure.
I'm gonna have one of them watch over and then go let the captain know what's going on so that there can be some kind of chain of communication started as far as letting her government know.
So one thing that I do want to point out, Jeremy, that you were behind the screen for last week was in stellar cartography when they were trying to find the ship dropped off these Romulans. That ship was called the Decius.
Gotcha.
Well, Jis is going to open up her tricorder and say, well, I am the ship's doctor. Do you mind if I just examine you to make sure that you're really okay? Is that all right?
As long as you can do something for this headache.
Absolutely. Let me see what I can do. And then just do a nice scan and see what I can find.
A couple of things that, Tana, you might pick up on is lots of random eye movement. As in, it might be some type of paranoia, but this Romulan not only doesn't remember what happened, but is like worried about it.
Mm-hmm. So I think whilst the doctor is trying to do her assessment, Tana is going to be doing her best to speak in calm and hopefully non-demeaning tones to the Romulan, and more advocating that they're just here to make sure that she's okay at this point. That the other situations that are outside of this room are not things that can be dealt with at this exact moment, and that everything will be dealt with in time. Right now, the biggest concern is her health, her safety, as well as the safety of everyone else that's involved, and what benefit could be gained from understanding what has happened to her.
Yeah, she eventually like calms down, especially if you give her some sedative for this headache. Not sure. She does have a pretty big welt where she was hit with a pipe. Not sure if that's what's causing the headache or if it's something else altogether. If this tetrion filament, when it detached, if that injured her.
I vacillate every time we talk about the pipe.
And she'll eventually calm down as long as you all can get her in contact with the Romulan Star Empire and her back. She is concerned about missing 7 days of her life and not knowing what happened in those 7 days, having no memories of them, or no apparent memories of them. Doesn't mean that they're not there. They might just be buried somewhere, but she can't find them currently.
When I leave the room, Prom was with them and did the stellar cartography stuff, correct?
Yes.
And since I would have just like read the report, it's a little fuzzy. There was a lot of other things I was focusing on dealing with, and so I'm going to click my communicator and be like, Lieutenant Prom, where are you currently?
Where would I be?
Tell me.
I guess on the deck of the ship.
Like the bridge?
The bridge. That's what I
Okay.
meant. Wow.
Yeah. I will head to the bridge.
Absolutely. And, we can kind of start discussing a plan here once we arrive at the Candidate 3 system, which is where the Decius was supposedly flying to. And close down this scene and then open up the next one, basically on the bridge with Captain and Commander in the Captain's Ready Room, as we are probably about 10 minutes away from hopping out of warp at the Candidate 3 system.
And by this time I verified that the Decius was the ship that they were tracking, and that's essentially where we're going. And okay.
So let's cut to, we're all sitting around a round table in the Captain's Ready Room. The Captain has a screen pulled up of the Candidate system. Specifically, Candidate 3 was where they were going. And you did learn that there was a Federation archaeology outpost there. And so there's a couple of files sent to some pads on the table and also up on the screen. And the Captain stands up there and looks at you all. Like, so here's what we know about Candidate 3. It's almost one of the largest cities that we've ever found on a planet. The city is massive. It is, the people have long since either left or passed on, but we've had 12 Federation archaeologists working there to learn more information about these ruins, and the best that they've been able to figure out so far is the species was called the Tillikal, and it seems as though they were a spacefaring species. Their goal, as a people, where they were trying to escape this world, and basically ascend to another dimension, where they could live in peace. And that's about all we've been able to figure out so far. And that's why this particular city has been so important to the Federation. And that's why we created an outpost there for archaeologists.
Okay, so I do have to ask a question. Going back to the first episode, I was trying to convince the XO that we should absolutely take this obelisk if it's a weapon and send it to Section 31. Did that happen as far as I know, or was that the last that I heard of it?
That's the last that you had heard of it.
Okay, then I don't feel as bad. And I'll leave it at that.
So what the Romulans will be doing here, it's possible they think there's another weapon here. So we need to be ready, like, as soon as we drop out of warp for whatever could be happening. I want scans, Lieutenant Javik. As soon as we hit the system, I want you scanning everything they've got. I want you, Vasily, I want you to be prepared for evasive maneuvers as soon as we drop out. Because we don't know if we're meeting this warbird there, or what's going to be waiting for us.
What alert level are we coming in at?
We're going to hit red alert on our way in. We'll send that out in about 5 minutes.
Has there been any communication with the outpost?
No. All hails have gone unanswered.
What about prior to that? Like, have they, as they've been excavating, have they sent any files or video or pictures?
Oh yeah, you can see all sorts of stuff, and a lot of you're seeing a lot of stone buildings, mostly denoted by these channels that run through the buildings, and there's almost like a blue pulsing energy running through these channels. It actually looks very similar to the obelisk.
That was my next question.
Way back.
Okay.
Just to be clear, this is a different planet than the one we had discovered.
Correct. This is a completely different planet with the same apparent technology / structure, some sort. The archaeologists every day they've not found any bodies, not reported finding any bodies, or anything like that, but just structure after structure after structure, and apparently these structures are still channeling energy somehow through stone.
Okay.
It's fascinating.
Cool.
Are we expecting any need to have to beam down essentially security forces to guard or rescue the archaeologists?
That's what the scans are for. Yes, we will be ready for that.
Then I will,
and they'll transport us right from the bridge.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll
make
make sure everyone is good to go with their weapons and such.
Absolutely. So at that point, he's like, if you do need to get called down, I'm going with you all. This is a dire situation. Yes, the commander can take care of the ship. If this is a dire circumstance with a new species, I want to be there.
As you say, sir.
So he, all right, dismissed. Get to your stations. And more minutes goes by. He calls for red alert. Vasily, you drop out of warp. and you are outside of the candidate 3 planet. So we can do our first roll for today. Prom. This is a scanning check. So it's difficulty 0. It is reason plus science.
Reason plus science.
So all dice rolls are 2d20. And when you combine your 2 scores together, that gives you a target number. You have to roll that number or below to get a success. This is a difficulty 0 task, so any successes turn into momentum, which can be used later on. So that's pretty awesome.
2d20, right?
Yeah.
2d20, my friend.
Gotcha. 9 and a 9. 18.
A 9 and a 9. So that's 2 successes.
Successes.
So you generate 2 momentum. And you also get assisted by the ship. The ship's sensors plus science, which is going to be up the character sheet here. So the ship's sensors plus science is going to be 10 plus 2, so 12. So you get 1 d20 with a target number of 12 to potentially get some more momentum. You can roll that too.
1 more d20. Gotcha.
Yeah, you're trying to hit a 12.
All right. Lucky dice, lucky dice. 3.
Ace. All right, so you generated 3 momentum. So let me give you the first bit of information that I can. There is a massive amount of electromagnetic energy coursing through this planet's atmosphere. That's the first thing. Now you have 3 momentum. Would you like to spend any to learn more information? Or ask me any questions?
Damn it. I can just never think about the questions to ask. You said there's
Everybody
a
else
massive...
can jump in if you can't think of one.
There's
If you
massive...
want to ask.
Alright, you said there's a massive electronic field...
Electromagnetic energy coursing through the atmosphere.
Through the atmosphere. We're headed to a colony, right?
Yes.
Do we... I guess it's 1 momentum. Am I picking up any life forms to the on the colony?
You are picking up one life sign that is an Andorian life sign. Who you would all know, one of the archaeologists is Andorian. But that is it. No more life signs.
Alright. And there should be more than 1, correct?
There's supposed to be 12.
Oh. Alright, so... Alright, I am picking up 1 out of 12 life signs on the colony.
0 Romulan life signs anywhere.
0 Romulan life signs anywhere.
Is there a sign of the Decius?
There's no sign of the Decius anywhere in orbit around this planet.
Do Romulan ships leave any trace, any signatures?
Good question.
Because, I mean, it's logical that we would not see the Decius, because they would be cloaked.
Right. I mean, you would detect that there has been some subspace disturbances in the area and within the last, couple hours.
Is there any sign of Tetrion radiation in the area?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So that'll be my last bit of information for you. So yes, beneath the electromagnetic field coursing through the atmosphere, there's also lots of Tetrion particles dancing around more near the planet's surface.
I guess am I even on the bridge as the engineer?
The captain asked you all to come out of his ready room and be on the bridge.
Is there anything resembling a beam of Tetrons anywhere, or is it just it's all scattered? Just except
You do not detect that currently.
From our
Should mess with our transporters, right?
well,
I mean, it'd probably be slightly more challenging, but not too much more challenging. But Captain Ireland says if there's only one person down there, we need to beam down. We need to be ready.
out of curiosity, from the reports that we've read, is the electromagnetic field, has it been reported before, or is this a new phenomenon?
So this has been embedded with, like the Tetryon field that you way back in episode 1. There was also electromagnetic energy as a part of that.
Okay,
So it's very similar to that, actually.
but it wasn't there when the colony was first put here.
Correct.
Okay. Sir, do you want us to attempt beaming down, or should we take a shuttle?
I do remember that first planet had such intense interference that we had to take a shuttle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But this one doesn't seem near as bad.
well, not nearly as bad.
We could beam the Romulan down first. Just see if her people are there. Okay, no, that's a terrible idea. I apologize.
I mean, we
but-
did have Argo.
But you know what we can do if we wish to dangle the Romulan, as one might say, is we can send an open transmission saying that we have her and are willing to negotiate for her handover. So if their ship is out here skulking about, that might
Send it.
engage with them.
Captain says send it. Yes, that's a great idea. More concerned about the 11 missing people that are on the planet's surface.
I can beam down with whoever you'd like to send with me.
Well, he already said that the whole group of you were going down
Okay.
with him at the round table. So he's gonna actually tap his badge and say 7 to beam down, and you guys are on the planet's surface.
Yay! I'll go ahead and just check, make sure I'm solid. Okay,
They're
good.
all solid. Made it to your destination. And so you're just outside of, you do see a lot of these stone structures all around you, but like you can see like what you might perceive as like the central part of the city. You are just a few hundred meters away from this Andorian archaeologist named Shalon.
We can see Shalon, or we know which direction Shalon is.
I would assume with a simple tricorder scan, you would know how to get to her.
Gotcha.
And with a medical tricorder scan, you would see that she is injured, not doing well.
Just is going to want to head on over
Okay.
to help.
The captain wants you all to have your weapons ready.
Like the captain had to ask.
I draw my pipe.
Arlen likes to talk things out, but he's really worried about this.
Or to be
situation.
one of those cool, like, big phaser rifles. Like kind of chainmail as a big old phaser rifle.
So as you walk over, you do see the Andorian is on the ground. It does look like she's got a burn on her shoulder that looks like it would be like a disruptor burn of some sort that just clipped her just a little bit. She's conscious though.
Well, just is going to go in and try and fix the burn and introduce who we all are and
The
ask her.
captain's gonna like not even worry about those pleasantries. What happened here? Is what he's going to ask. And she's like, they got the obelisk. They were relentless.
Romulans?
Yes.
Because they never relent.
Never do.
Never relent, never surrender.
Yeah, and she kind of like raises her finger to point over at like what looks like maybe it was an amphitheater at one time, and you do see some stone pedestals very similar to the ones that you used to deactivate the obelisk on the first planet that you went to, and this time there is no giant obelisk in between those at all, and the Andorian kind of like fades in and out of consciousness for a minute, and she's like, "At least they didn't find the tomb." Then she kind of like passes out.
Tomb. What tomb?
Looking for a tomb.
I'm gonna take out my tricorder and start scanning for subterranean areas.
So yeah, there is a whole. You would imagine like almost like an undercity beneath where you are. Interestingly, as you start scanning and looking around, the blue energy that's like pulsating through the rocks, the rock structures around you, Gabriel, you would notice that like looks like that. If you weren't paying attention, it would just look like glowing blue energy, but it looks like to you that like it's almost flowing like through a network.
Right, like almost like an equivalent of EPS conduits or something.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna bust out my sweet engineering tricorder and start seeing if I can get some readings on what kind of energy that is, how it's being transmitted.
Yeah, you can actually looks like most of the energy that's flowing through these places is moving in the same direction to what could potentially be like a central point.
Well, I don't know, crew. I think if there's any place that said we basically have we have signs pointing us in this direction.
Where are there bodies of the rest of the crew? Have they been killed? Like, where's the missing people?
You do not see any bodies. You know that disruptor blasts can also atomize bodies.
I am.
And Shalon out again.
Yeah, she just kind of like said at least they didn't find the tomb, and then she kind of like passed out.
I am curious whether or not this tomb, one, the distance underneath the ground might be interfering with our scans, but also it could have its own unique properties. Perhaps there are people down there. I feel like we should make sure we are alone here before doing anything else.
And can Jessa sense any other beings at all? A feeling?
Not here.
Okay.
Not here.
Does the archaeologist, does she have a like her archaeological tricorder or whatever, wherever she would have kept her data? I assume we might be able to read it.
You can see actually right near where the obelisk structure was. You can see some tents they're set up that look like that's likely where like their base of operations were.
Okay, so perhaps she would have in her records listed where this tomb is if they were researching it.
Good thinking.
We should probably get her to the ship, though, correct?
What's that?
Shouldn't we get her beamed up to the ship so she's safe and sick bay?
Yeah, you can tap and say when to beam up if you wish.
Or we could wake her up and have her assist us. I mean, there's a hypospray for that.
It's the future, damn it.
Or at least we can wake her up and ask her what happened to the rest of the people.
Yeah, let's do that. Just is gonna go in and hypospray her awake.
She's in a lot of pain, and like, she says that they're dead. They're all dead.
Okay.
I think given the archaeologist's reaction and the personally questionable ethics of waking someone up in an obvious traumatized state like that, I feel like Tana is going to kind of step in and gently ask the doctor if we can beam her straight to sickbay, please. There's much to be done here, and she is going to be of no help going forward if she does not receive proper medical care quickly.
Just
Yeah, I was gonna say that this is Anna's first experience with our doctor, who is, how should I say, always like this.
Yeah, I imagine that Tana and Jissa have had several conversations in which Tana is gently trying to not get demoted. While
she
she asks,
understands, but she also, wants to help the crew here get some information. But she will boop her tricorder and have her best person waiting and ready to help this poor archaeologist.
So she gets beamed up. Tom, do you have any focuses in archaeology or anything like that? Or is your science a little bit different than that?
Mine? No problem.
Sorry, what's the question again?
Do you have any I know that you've got some sciencey background stuff. Anything that has to do with archaeology or anything like that?
Archaeology, no. Xenobiology, genetics, virology, computers, linguistics, reverse engineering.
May all come into play here in just a few minutes. So Vasily.
Tana does have cultural studies, by the way, if that helps at all.
Amazing.
Okay. I think that yes. So you see Vasily going over towards the tents that would be like the home base of the archaeologists. And Vasily said there might be more information there. I don't know if you would tag along once the Andorian gets.
Yeah, absolutely. Once the Andorian is beamed up, I think Tana would probably just graze by Lieutenant Tarjum and pat his shoulder and say, I'm sure we'll talk later about the transporters, and then follow Vasily post haste.
I'll follow as well.
Yeah. And the captain has his phaser out, ready to watch your backs. He is flustered, it looks like. So you get in. There's several computers here. Obviously, there's logs of different artifacts that they've found. And just recently this morning, there is an entry, a digital entry about finding the tomb, the tomb with the blue mist, and that appears to be the end of it is scrawled off, maybe in the middle of writing this in, somebody was taken out or surprised or something, as it just kind of ends, which is interesting to you. It does detail a location as well, as to where that would be. Anything else you're looking for here?
We'd probably download a schematic of the whole, place in general. Any records of anything related to Tetrions, acting oddly recently, within the last week?
No references to that at all. There is lots of references to some writings that they found on some stone tablets that discuss ascending, essentially, and being able to separate their soul from their bodies.
Have they been able to translate this language then?
You say that again?
Have they been able to translate this language?
Not fully, not fully.
Okay. But enough that, like, would it be able to help me, say, if I was running, like, one of these consoles, I'd be able to be like, oh, this is what this is.
Potentially, yeah.
All right, I'm going to see if there's any way I can kind of, like, upload some of that data into my tricorder.
Yeah, you can actually find a file on there where they were trying to create a universal universal translator program for this language. It's just not full yet. It's very very sparse.
That's okay. Anything helps.
This ascension, these writings, do they mention anything perhaps in a descriptive, sort of fictionalized manner that sounds like it might be Tetrion or energy or anything? Because I'm wondering if, they try to convert themselves into Tetrions to ascend.
So, no words like that, but there are some pictures that they got of it looks like a body on the ground with some type of spirit, energy, whatever, flowing out of their body and up into the sky. That's about the extent of it.
Does it look like this, whatever blue energy we've seen here, or does it look like blue mist that we've heard about?
Probably more like the energy that's coursing through these rocks.
So perhaps they did ascend.
Has Tana ever heard of any species that have this ability to separate themselves from their bodies in such ways?
I mean, you are familiar with quote unquote out of body experiences,
right? But like, I meant like as a species that can just inherently do it, or evolves to do it.
The closest you can think of would be like the Vulcan Katra, where they can kind of create their own mind space, but that isn't like a physical translocation of energy to subspace. There are energy beings that we have met from subspace, but to anyone's knowledge, they're not attached to any beings in, the mortal realm, so to speak.
Right. So I think Tana would then, after reviewing some of this information, perhaps caution the captain and the rest of the crew that whatever ordeal very likely in affecting the mind could probably lead to some pretty severe mental fractures and traumas for anyone that undergoes such a thing. So we should be extremely cautious moving forward. If we were to potentially encounter one of these beings, they may not be in any recognizable mindset that we would have for ourselves.
Could we perhaps engineer, or at least prepare something that we know to at least counteract Tetrions? So if one of these, if they are Tetrion beings, and if they do exert some sort of mind control through Tetrions, could we come up with something that would potentially protect somebody from that? At least something we can experiment with. Obviously, we would not know if it would work, right, until we tried it, but at least we'd have a head start on protecting ourselves.
So like, whenever you see particles, right, the antiparticles usually repel them, et cetera, et cetera. The anti-tetrions have the same physical properties as tetrions, but they might be able to repel each other if you create a device that can manipulate that. That would take a considerable amount of time, because tetrions are still even a new particle in the 2300s. You know what I mean? Um,
Okay.
that's something that could be a potential something that you could work towards.
Okay. Just a second question. On these drawings that we're seeing, is there any indication that their transformation or the ascension was a two-way or reversible process, or is it all just ascending and like one way?
It's very almost like deific. Like this is what we need to do to become our perfect selves. So why would you want to return?
Of course, yes,
so to speak.
So as we're walking along, I am looking at these glowing stones and such, and I'm looking at the phaser rifle in my hand, and I'm looking at the captain walking around with his phaser. Do I know of any potential danger as far as hitting these glowing stones?
So like you're walking near them and not having a sensation like if you were near an electrical wire, you would feel your hair standing up on end.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case here.
Okay.
So you're not quite sure how this energy is even being transferred. It's just these channels have been built into the stone is somehow, and it's electromagnetic in nature, not tetraionic or anything like that.
Okay. I am going to step up next to Lieutenant Commander Martin and just ask, do you feel like we have any worries about setting any kind of chain reactions off should we get into a firefight?
A great question, Lieutenant. Let me run some hands and see if we can figure something out. I am going to do like a little bit like further investigation to see if I can determine a little bit more of the nature of this stuff. I do have some experience with power generation systems and experimental technology. I'd kind of like to just see like if I can figure out like what exact energy is here, what is it being conducted through, and then hopefully put together,
you probably already figured that out with your first scan.
Yeah.
This is like you actually said like a plasma like an EPS conduit, right?
Yeah.
These channels are redirecting electromagnetic plasma through the stone somehow towards a specific location, it appears.
So everything appears to be going to a place in the pulse directions. Are we able to determine, or does it all look like it's coming from a specific place? Or is it just drained, whatever this is?
Yeah, I mean, there's no central location that it appears to be coming from. It's, you don't know if it's innate in the stone itself or where the power is being generated, but you can get where it's flowing to. And it looks, as you start mapping that out in your head, it looks like it's moving towards where Sherlan said the tomb was.
Now, I guess another thing. So if I'm thinking about like my EPS conduit's back on the ship, right? Energy is very much a two-way street. Like it's like if there's a conduit that's energized essentially in both directions, kind of. Like, is that the case here? Like, if we were to say tap into one, would be able to use it, or all stuff is just like flowing past it like water?
It feels more like a direct current than an alternating current.
Okay. Do I get the sense that if we shot it, it would go boom?
I mean, probably not boom, but if you're close to it, it would probably electrocuted. Some way.
Try not to shoot the blue channels.
Fair enough. If everyone could just be careful with their phasers as we continue on, that would be great.
If we do get in a firefight, don't stand next to any of the blue pulsy bits. And if you see any
Noted.
Romulans next to them, shoot those things.
So you are going to make your way to the tomb next?
I have one quick question before we head off
Yes.
in the direction of the tomb. So Tana has a decent understanding of science and, particles and the notion of them. And she also has a talent called Expert Quartermaster that allows her to basically understand almost any potential alternate use of personal equipment. And so I'm curious if, in looking around this tent with all of the archaeologists' supplies and equipment and all of that, if there's anything in the line of what Vasily was discussing that could potentially provide even a temporary, not protection against Tetrions, but a temporary disruption of Tetrions. If there's any devices that could be rejiggered, so to speak, to have that kind of an alternate use.
Not necessarily here. If this is part of their technology, right, the Tilical's technology, there might be something somewhere that has not been uncovered yet.
Okay.
The city.
Tana will be trying to keep an eye out for something like that then.
Sure. So we're at 10:30. We're about halfway through. I gotta use the bathroom real quick. So can we take a little 5-minute break and we'll come back and see what lies beneath.
Sounds great. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, and we're back and we're refreshed and we're ready to figure out what the heck is going on here. Just a reminder, we came to this planet and there's a massive archaeological site and we've been tracking some energy flows to a specific area, which sounds like it might be a tomb of some sort. And that's where everybody is kind of traveling at this time. Everyone is armed because we're petrified of the Romulans at this point, and we don't know what else we're dealing with. So who's gonna lead the way? You follow this energy flow into what looks like a short building with no roof, and as you go down, there is like a little like some rocks had fallen down, but there is like a passageway that looks like it goes down into a chamber. It's fairly tight to get through, but you like shining a light down there. It does look like there's a chamber down there, and just the faintest blue flickering light off in the distance of this tunnel / chamber. The captain says, all right, we need to be prepared for anything.
Can I be running scans while we're making our way
Nice.
Yes.
down this tunnel?
Absolutely. You're not picking up anything out of the ordinary. When you get closer to the entrance to this tomb, you start picking up more random Tetrions that appear to be coming from within. And you know what? I'll give you this as well. You get, it seems like, readings of technology that you've seen before in like cryo tubes.
Okay, could we, just would like to do another scan for any kind of life activity, maybe more like brain waves, if people were actually in cryo tubes.
Brainwaves.
Mm-hmm.
Like no brain waves at all. In fact, you aren't even detecting life forms down there.
Okay.
So you detected the cryotubes, but we don't see them yet?
No, we haven't progressed down in yet.
Okay.
This was a scan from the outside.
I feel like I should go ahead of you all, just in case.
You can scouts.
Yeah, I'll go along with you. But
Celia, have you found any other more manual backup weaponry?
It's gonna have like a wall of weapons.
Well, I was thinking that so far our best defense against Tetrion radiation has been manual application of force to the cranium.
Oh no.
It'd be a pipe.
And the captain picks up a piece of like rebar with like stone on the bottom of it, and he hands it to you. Here you go.
Chekhov's mace.
It may do to keep one of these around, just in case.
So Tarjev and Vasily, as you crawl down through this little hole to get to this passageway, this is like the blue lines of energy are definitely flowing through the walls here, through a actually up to the ceiling, to this central pillar, and in front of this pillar is like a bluish haze mist of sorts. And beyond the pillar, you do see hundreds of what look like biobeds.
Now, are they covered, or are they just open-faced beds?
They are covered.
Okay.
It looks like there's domed glass over them.
Is the glass still transparent, or is it like frozen up? Is it opaque?
Are you going to go and investigate closer before everybody else comes down?
We should scan this mist.
Okay, I will. I'm going to keep it essentially the rifle like ready in case anything hops out of one of the beds or something, while Vasily does the scans.
Oh no, I'm gonna signal for Prom, who I think is our scienciest of scientists, and say we should perhaps examine a sample of this, whatever this is.
Please come science this.
So we all make our way down and catch up to you all before you go investigating the tubes. And Prom, without even rolling, this mist is actually like, it's almost like a contained area of tetrions. They're not flowing anywhere. They're just kind of all contained in this area for some reason.
And that's in the wall, right?
It's just in front of a pillar in the center of the room. It does look like energy is coming down through this pillar, spreading out through the floor. There are a couple of computer consoles similar to the ones that you've seen with the obelisks before.
So basically just a battery, a generator, per se.
Some sort.
Can you tell what's containing
Converter
it?
of some kind.
Like it looks like it's just free flowing in the air, right?
Yeah, this mist is basically a bunch of swirling tetrion particles that are for some reason not flying in random directions. They're almost like they're stuck together, like they can't break free of each other.
Lieutenant Prom, can you tell what's keeping it there?
Do I have to roll for that?
You can make a difficulty 1 reason plus science.
2 dice, right?
Can I assist with that since my reason is high and my science is pretty high?
Let's see what he gets.
I got a 20 and a 9.
Right, so that's one success and one complication. So the your guess is that there's got to be some type of system in this building that is keeping them in one place. You could probably figure out more if you accessed one of the control panels. And the captain looks at you, Tarjev, and says, "What's in the beds over there?"
I will head that direction and see whether or not the glass is transparent or not.
So the glass is transparent, and
Glass.
unlike cryo beds that you've seen in the past, there's no frost buildup or anything like that. In fact, these don't even appear to be cryo beds. They're some type of bio beds, similar to like could be found on on a ship.
Okay. Are there bios inside the bio bed?
Yes.
Okay.
Every single, well, at least the ones in your immediate vicinity, are all these very tall, gaunt, long-armed, long-legged, long-faced beings.
Who's the closest to me that saw this ghost thing last episode?
Are the rest
Probably
of
Gabriel.
Are the rest of us in there? I thought Andrew and Jeremy went ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's true actually. Vasily was the one that blocked him with the pipe.
Yeah, okay, so I'll go over and take a look inside. Do these
I was
look
wondering
like
if
the thing that I saw?
Vaguely. The face that you saw was maybe like a distorted version of this.
Okay. So it tracks that these may be the same creatures that we saw the distorted energy version of. You said that might be possible to interface with one of these computers.
Sure.
I would like to go interface.
Okay. Yeah, so this is so getting this machine to work is a difficulty 3. And I guess it would be insight plus engineering. There are 2 different consoles, so you could get an assist with it if you need one.
I'll assist.
Insight engineering. It's not gonna be great. 11.
That's my.
Could I
I don't even think I'm in there.
utilize my direct neural interface for this?
Oh my god.
Hmm.
Plan. That's brilliant. Brilliant.
Don't get sucked in.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, yeah, I guess you're ideal at learning new technology, so why not?
All right. So, and I don't have a good focus for this. So yeah, no, I don't think there's going to be a relevant focus at all. So
You
it's
have
probably-
we have 1 momentum if you want to purchase a dice.
this is insight engineering.
Correct.
I mean, I'll buy a die, so that'll be 4 dice for me. So let's do that. So that'll be 1 second. That'll be 2 successes. So I'm gonna need somebody to do well in that assist.
So
Feel free to call the actual engineering outside.
So Javak gets 1 die.
1 die.
Insight plus
Alright.
engineering.
Insight
You have a
plus
computer's
engineering.
focus though.
And yeah, I was about to. Yeah, the computer focus does that give me another die?
No,
Right.
what it does is whatever your engineering score is,
Mm-hmm.
that becomes your critical range.
Oh,
You have a
okay.
focus.
All right.
So what's your engineering?
4.
So if you roll a 1, 2, 3, or 4, it counts as 2 successes.
All right, let's see what we got here. Insight plus engineering. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's a
one.
success.
Exactly enough. So as you're jacked in, Vasily, you start noticing that there's like this. It's almost like a tuner bar. Um, and as you're adjusting it, the tetrions are like fluctuating, like in and out. And as Praham hops in to kind of guide you through, um, Praham starts like helping you condense the tetrion particles, and as they start coming closer and closer together, they form a ghost-like being. Um, and this is this spirit of sorts has blue hues all over them, blue skin. They do have black hair, and they are wide-eyed. And they're like, "Can't believe that worked."
Counselor?
Found me. I'm Ashtamalia of the Tilikal. With whom do I speak? And of course, Captain Arlen speaks his name and offers you each to introduce yourselves accordingly.
I think when the carousel of names gets around to Tana, she gives her full name but not rank. Just says, "I am Tana Dane of Barzan. Are you all right? You seem confused and surprised."
This was a last-ditched effort for me. A cry for help, so to speak. And I am surprised that it worked. I fear maybe it worked too late.
What were you fleeing from?
I was not fleeing from anything. I was fleeing towards you. You all. Your universe. It's in danger.
And you are not of this universe any longer?
Oh, I mean, we are all of two universes, all of the Tilikal. However, when we ascended, we may have done something that was questionable, and I fear it's come back to haunt us.
Or to haunt the rest of us?
Well, I do not know your species. You said Barzan.
Yes.
When we were, as a species, trying to ascend, it started to work. We split our spirits off from our bodies. The problem is, some of us lost their minds doing so. We refer to them as the displaced. And we feared that they would be a problem once we ascended.
And how many of these displaced have succumbed to whatever psychoses are manifesting from ascending?
Hundreds of thousands?
And she looks over at the captain and says, "Well, we're not dealing with a small group."
And the captain's like, indeed. What happened? What did you do? And when he asked that, lights in the far back of this giant chamber start lighting up, and you can see that there are just thousands and thousands and thousands of these pods, and Tarjev, I'm assuming that this is something that you'll look at because you are back there. You're looking and looking, and then eventually there are pods with look like deceased bodies.
Okay.
And Shtamalia says, when we all ascended together as a species, we had a plan, and we shunted the displaced into a pocket universe. We trapped them there. And then we removed their bodies.
Subspace.
So that they could not unleash their evil upon this universe. It was a difficult decision, to say the least.
Are those the deceased ones?
Yes.
Are they lighting up, or is it is it the alive ones that are lighting up?
No, so basically, it's just the whole room lit up, but like at the further back you got is where you started seeing more and more deceased ones.
Okay, gotcha.
And Shtamalia says, we believe that they've found a way out of their pocket dimension. Likely looking for their bodies. Their bodies no longer exist.
This is probably the part where we should ask you about the obelisks.
The obelisks are communication devices, transportation devices. They are zero-point equation devices.
They're designed to emit massive amounts of tetrions.
Correct.
Do these tetrions communicate between the universes or dimensions that you're talking about?
That is what they do. Yes. They act as carrier waves, so to speak. That's how I'm talking to you now. And
are you talking about an obelisk on this planet or elsewhere?
There are many throughout this region of the galaxy.
I'm gonna ask, I guess, do you have any knowledge of an alternate plane known as subspace?
I mean, there are many layers of subspace.
Yes. I'm trying to get around to figuring out how to ask about if something were to, say, fracture subspace, would that be bad for the displaced?
If a rift to their pocket universe were to occur, it would allow them to travel freely from their universe. Would need hosts once they got here. And that is what I fear has been happening.
We think that's happened.
Yes.
We have a Romulan on our ship that I believe was used as a host briefly. So how do we stop this from happening? How can we help?
if even one gets through, their plan could unleash all of the displaced.
Is there
Must
any way to
deactivate the obelisk.
seal a fracture such as this?
The subspace is self-mending at times, but as long as our obelisks exist across this region, there will still be potential ways for them to get through. They
Do
should be
these
destroyed.
obelisks serve any purpose to you now that you are ascended?
We have no interest in returning here. But at the same time, we also don't want here to get destroyed.
Well, we appreciate that. So are you saying that we should destroy the obelisks?
Yes.
What is the easiest way to destroy an obelisk when we come across them?
Blunt force trauma?
It's all up to you, Vasily.
You've got this.
You said there were many of these obelisks, though. Is there any way to invoke some kind of a chain reaction to where they can affect each other? They communicate with each other, you said.
I imagine that would be possible. It's not something that we ever researched. I imagine it would be possible.
Can you provide us a list of the locations of these obelisks?
We'll find them in the consoles in this building.
And what if one is stolen?
Come again?
What if, say, one was stolen by one of these beings already?
You would need to find it. And find it fast.
Okay.
And the captain's like, believe that we can do it.
Well, one down.
Is there anything that we should do with either set of bodies?
There will be custodians checking in from time to time to ensure that our bodies are still around.
Can these displaced take your bodies?
Potentially.
And you have no use for them? Should we just dispose of them?
That might be a fail-safe. Should things go wrong?
Who are these
We would never have a chance to return then. I would have to take this to my people and have a conversation.
I just look at the captain, like...
Yeah, he gives you a nod.
Who are these custodians that you spoke of?
They are species that have helped with our evolution of sorts throughout the years. They've given us great aid protecting our locations. I actually was hoping that I would be meeting one of them here. Who were a surprise to me. What? Yes, there are several. The first is the Vinshari. The other are the Calmiran. Not yet.
Can you tell us where to find them?
And what?
Can you tell us where to find them? Perhaps we can.
Benshari and the Kalmiran? Their planets will be marked on the same maps that you find.
Very well.
Well, I think we should go and download all this information quickly.
I thank you for your help. I will try to reach out to you again soon. For now, I should return to my
Can we
people.
only contact you in this place, or do we need to, or do we have a way to contact you elsewhere?
There may be other locations like this still in operation. Sure.
With your mind. Yeah. That is right. What do I get from him? Do I feel like his, what
You
what
get
he
a
believes?
blank, empty room.
Oh boy. Yep. Nothing. Nothing.
Do I have any particular sense that this being is being truthful and not hiding a potential, loss of sanity from quote unquote ascending?
You get the sense that this fact that this person came out and told you about what they did to those that did lose their minds, feel like you pretty much trust them. You're not seeing any tics or any weird things that might suggest any trauma in this person's. Again, you're just reading like a spirit of sorts.
Right.
I guess I have
I
a
mean-
question. Well, like, how would we capture a being that was taking over another person's body?
There's a
like
device here that has
like a
contained
magical-
Trion particles. Might be able to reverse engineer it.
Can these pods cause anyone to, would you call it ascend, to become energy?
There's a long process. Involves consuming food and listening to music and meditating, and it's a long, drawn-out process. It took many years before we could ascend.
And what exact device did create the ascension? Am I to guess that you guys all linked up and uploaded yourself through this conduit?
To our domain, our higher level.
Subspace layer.
Free from the burdens of this world.
Yes, thank you for passing those burdens down to us.
Again, I apologize.
For a moment, I do remember a couple of days ago, and sitting there dealing with the bad Klingon food. I'm like, yeah, I get that.
I mean, Celia and I and Prom were dealing with the one of your displaced at that point in time.
So,
Kind
Anna,
of like you, but a lot more angry.
how do you feel about what this species did with those who began to lose their minds? Let's get an inner thought process here. That maybe nobody else hears, but what you're thinking.
I think Tana understands culturally that, their cultural decisions probably led themselves to think that was the best course of action. Certainly would not be the best course of action in her mind, but she isn't going to necessarily judge them per se in that act. I think in her frame of things, she's probably trying to contemplate, is there a potential way of communicating with these displaced and somehow helping them to recuperate from their trauma, but she isn't sure that's even possible, because of the ways in which that we have to communicate with these beings, but also they might just be a little bit too far gone for that circumstance.
Excellent. I think that's really important to hear from your character's perspective. That might come into play in the near future.
Yeah.
So...
Not something certainly something that she would vocalize in a debrief later to the captain and the rest of the crew, maybe, but not something that she would talk about in front of this being. She does her best not to appear judgmental.
So Ashtamalia says that she really must go, and you going to let the Tetrions disperse, or what's your plan?
So can I scan the computers and the power source to see if I can get I want to say frequency of the specific, I guess, the Tetrions, so it could be easily the other obelisks could be easily tracked or be easier tracked.
Sure. Yeah. I think that you're going to be able to get a lot of information from these computers that you can pour through, and I'm sure that will be in there as part of it. You can also get the frequency of this particular device that is set into this pillar that helps contain the Tetrion particles into one location.
I am definitely going to try to reverse engineer and or take any of that stuff with me that I can.
And Ashtamalia gives you permission for that.
Cool. Because we need a way to put these genies back into their bottle, so to speak. I also want to download basically the entire database up to the computer if I can do so.
Yeah, it's going to require a lot of memory. There's a lot there. You basically get the whole history of the Tilakal, and get a rough map of the obelisk network, so on and so forth.
I think it would be the captain I say this to. I feel like we should see about taking one of these pods with us. Probably one that... Maybe there's some empty ones I could walk around and look, or one of the ones that has a not living person, I guess. Should we ask permission before this?
What do you need a pod for? What do we need the pods for?
I just feel like, for science.
If I could offer perhaps a different perspective to what a need for such a pod might be, if there's any way to potentially take one that has one of the deceased, that body could be potentially used in a ploy to lure one of these Tetrion beings towards it, and potentially away from someone else being possessed.
Oh, can can the dead be possessed by these creatures, or does the body have to be living?
Ashtomalia said they have to be living.
Okay, so the dead body wouldn't necessarily help, but
it could be potentially masked, or we could create some type of scenario where it appears alive when it isn't. I'm not suggesting that we do anything to physically, deport the body. We would want to treat it with respect, obviously, but if such a thing could be done to concoct a ruse, that might be a usefulness for one of the deceased.
Captain doesn't want to take any bodies out of here. However, if you can get schematics or the pods, that might be useful in the future.
Sure.
Something that we can try to build.
How reminiscent are these pods of, like, the Borg revitalization chambers?
Vaguely. I mean, they're... Like I said, they're more like bio beds than anything.
Right.
But it is a bio bed.
The revitalization chamber.
Right.
That's why I thought of the revitalization chamber.
And it is a bio bed that have kept these other ones alive for how long?
Millennia.
So I feel like there's some knowledge here that we might be able to glean as well.
Well, that's a potentially dangerous path to go down, Lieutenant. But there is a potential that we could even use the signatures created by these biobeds as part of that ruse that I was discussing. Perhaps repurpose some Borg technology to give off the same types of readings as these biobeds do.
And as Javak is going through database after database, and as Vasily is downloading all this information wherever possible, they do come across some schematics for how to actually build these devices. And like I said, the whole history of the Tilakal. Basically, you've got a pretty awesome map of the Shackleton Expanse now.
Nice.
Nice.
Does that include the systems where these other caretakers come from? Great.
It does.
I'd like to see if I can learn anything about the actual device in the center of this room.
So yeah, that's just the power distribution network. You can get that information for sure.
Okay.
Get a better understanding of it. Now that you've hacked in and gotten all this data. Otherwise, what do you want to do with, like, do you just want to leave the bodies here? What do you want to do with them? Like, leave them as is? The captain will give his recommendation, but I don't know if you guys want to try to give him any ideas.
I mean, we should lock this up and make sure that this is not accessed by anyone, like that this planet is off limits and
Agreed.
protected.
I mean, I feel like I completely agree if that's something that could be, actually handled, but should someone slip through or our defenses not be enough, if they're not using their bodies and they are okay with, Ash said that they would check with their people, destroying this facility is the safest bet.
We know where it is, and if we bury it up and try to keep people out, we can come back once we from Ashtomalia again.
Well, and how about the caregivers? If they are not able to get in, is that a bad thing?
Oh, right. We should get the caregivers to come over here and, like, take a more active role. Establish a colony.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that could potentially draw more unwanted attention to this place as well. Right now, it has the benefit of anonymity, the more that we do with it, the less beneficial that an anonymity is.
I also don't believe that there's much that this place represents in terms of as a threat
anymore.
We need to go get that obelisk from the Romulans and then take care of the rest.
Can you erase the data that you've copied at this point?
We've got it. We can shut down these computers. Captain?
/format C:.
There's a big enough magnet I can take care of anything.
And what about the potential that we might need to use this place to help with that chain reaction scenario for all of the rest of the obelisks?
That's a great question.
I mean, we may have
just try to obscure this place as best we can, but otherwise leave it intact.
We could rock, paper, scissors over it. It's how all main Starfleet decisions are made.
So
that, Lieutenant, is why you have not been promoted recently.
So Captain Ireland says, "All right, very well. We will seal this place up. We will mask it to the best of our ability. We'll remove our archaeological stuff from here. I will forward a message to Narendra Station that this place should be avoided for now. Hopefully that'll be enough to cover us until we can get that obelisk.
Unless you think Starfleet could offer some picket ships to come here and guard the place.
You can see if there's any around. A lot of them have been digging deeper into the expanse, so who knows?
And again, that draws more attention.
Yeah. Very well. Well, let's clean this place up. Let's get our stuff out of here. You've got schematics. You're taking the device that stabilized the Tetrions. That could be helpful.
Yes.
Let's get back to the ship, see if we can trace any warp signatures.
I'll set up some transporter beacons and basically anything that we feel that we can take out of here without desecrating the dead or completely disabling their systems.
You just hear a shh thump. Oh, I found an empty one over here.
Bring it on over.
So you drop all that stuff down. You start having them beam up the equipment and so on. And once all that has been beamed up, you all beam up as well. And you all end up on the bridge, right to the bridge, where the commander is sitting on the captain's chair, and he looks around and he's like, "We haven't been able to detect any Romulan ships in area at all, sir." And the captain kind of walks over to one of the display panels and he elbows Tarjem, and as you look down, Tarjem, you see that there are all of your roommates that are around you right now. Their images come up, and you can see that there are Tetrion particles coming from each of their heads.
Does that include the captain?
No.
And not...
The captain says, "What's that?"
And not myself.
Not yourself.
Okay.
And the captain says, "Lieutenant Tarjev, hate to do this, but I need you to combine Ogu, Martin, Dane, Javak, Vasily, and the commander brig.
Yes, sir.
Your team's in here. He goes over to the seat, his captain's chair, as you start rounding them up. Do you guys want to say anything after he makes this declaration?
Vasily, the pipe.
What's going on?
What can Jissa discern from his like mental state right now? Like, what is he?
Empty room.
Empty room. I'm in agreement. The pipe.
And
I can't read our captain anymore.
And as the captain sits down, he's like, you see on the view screen, Romulan warbird decloak. And he says, follow him. And the ship goes to warp. As does the Ginsburg.
I resist.
I shoot you.
So,
Like,
so that's where we're gonna end right
To
there.
be continued.
oh my god.
Okay then.
Right, so let me so I got this straight. He showed Tarjim a picture with all of us having tetryon particles coming from our head,
Yes.
but you just tried to mind read the captain. He's a blank slate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he the bad guy.
He's the bad guy. Yep.
Tarjim might be kind of too. But we don't know that.
Tarshim's fine. What?
Oh my gosh.
Under the table, tricordering.
So essentially, you beam back up from the planet. The captain. Well, I mean, you don't know that the captain showed Tarjem this, but the captain does offer that command to Tarjem, that he needs his teams to confine you all to the brig. We will pick up next time with your all reaction to that.
Nice.
Oh boy.
All right.
Lovely.
Well, with that to be continued note, thanks for watching tonight. Make sure you head over to DriveThruRPG or Modifius.net to pick up the starter set for Star Trek Adventures. And don't forget that our awesome GM and designer for Star Trek Adventures is coming out with their own 2D20 game, Sentience, and we will have a actual play of that later this month, so keep your eye out. Any last words? Anything that you want to say, Al, or anyone else?
Yeah, so just so you know that Sentience is part of the Modifius World Builders program, which is essentially it's similar to like what Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition has done with the DM's Guild, where you can produce content using their system. So myself and one other writer, Allison Sipe, have worked really hard on the core rulebook. Got like 3/4 of the way done, hoping to have it released by the end of the month. The quick start is up. It has a mission, 6 pre-gens, pretty solid. I ran it today for the first time and loved it.
Nice.
So yeah, and I thank everyone for watching and coming out to play, and hopefully next week we can put a bow on all of this, now that you have some tools at your disposal if you're not in prison.
Dude, it'll be fine. They could do it in the brig, right?
Oh boy.
If they make it that far. Make sure you follow Al on Twitter to as far as release dates and everything for Sentience, and we will see you next time on Star Trek Adventures Forefront. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye, everyone.